We have had weather to talk about every day this week, it seems. A lot going on again today. Nicole Karkic and Rachel Schoutsen with you here. Let's take you to our...
So I know how it feels to wait for a pre-construction place. And imagine that you're in the final stages and these homes now right off in Brampton.
So it looks like construction that was supposed to be completed in summer now shifted to fall.
Exactly.
Which is not great news to hear, as you know. Taking a look at winds today, not as strong as yesterday. Towards Ottawa and Montreal, gusts between 20 to 40 kilometers an hour. But they do start to strengthen through the overnight hours. The afternoon picking up a little bit on the shores of Lake Erie. But with those northwest winds, Rachel, tonight, we could see some lake-enhanced snow through tomorrow, and it will start to feel colder this evening.
Barrie, Midland, Orillia, you'll all be the target for some of that snow. And yeah, temperatures going to be dropping for us. So again, we're going to see one of those days where our warmest temperatures happening right now, and then the fall continues. So if those homes being damaged by some of those winds, and Jeff described this to us, it really goes to show you the power, the force of nature.
Absolutely. And again, the winds picking up through the overnight northwesterly flow, so brisk. Now we do see some light rain return through the afternoon across southern Ontario, but it's going to be lighter than what we saw last night. St. John's, a clear start for you. That will change through the overnight hours. And Rachel, as of right now, this is a look at what snow is on the ground.
And this is so interesting because we see quite a bit of snow on the ground, especially through the Maritimes, and we have all of this rain coming in. So that milder air, it moves across the Maritimes, brings you rain, and then sharp drop in temperatures. So we're going to talk very icy surfaces for the weekend.
Absolutely. Generally, rain is 10 to 20 across the Maritimes, but heavier towards Burgeo and Burin, where we do have a rainfall warning. But as you mentioned, the drop on Friday. So we could certainly see some slicked up roads and sub-freezing temperatures, and it continues right into the weekend. Thanks for joining us this morning. I feel like this week has gone by really fast.
I agree.
And we've had different weather elements to talk about every day.
We have, and you know what? Right now, warmest spot in all of Canada, St. Catharines, 12.7 degrees.
Wow.
Warm.
That's what you would see at the beginning of spring.
I know, very impressive.
So is this rain. I mean, we are not getting typical January weather. Heavy rain came down across the Greater Toronto region last night. It's really shifting off towards the east at this hour, Rachel. But rain will return for the afternoon.
Exactly. So we are going to see the rain develop again, and we could also see some freezing rain closer to Windsor. Looks like it would stay into places like Michigan. However, we're going to monitor that. A lot of the models saying, though, that air should modify by the time it really tracks closer to the city of Toronto. So yes, more rain. And Barrie, by the way, started off as rain, but we'll see snow into the afternoon.
Exactly, because we're going to see cooler temperatures through the day. So right now, some of the warmest temperatures that you might see of the day, because then northwest winds set up, that snow line shifts down towards Barrie, as you mentioned, and we will see even the potential for some lake effect snow through tomorrow.
For sure. What we see is that strong northwest wind that develops. So places like Barrie, Midland, and Orillia, you could be looking at a couple flurries through the overnight and then continuing into Friday, and then everybody into that colder air for Friday.
That's right. Halifax, starting to see a little bit of mist out there.
We'll take you there right now with Jeff Harrington. And Jeff, let us know the latest. I know you're standing on the scene right now.
Good morning. Glad you could join us. January moving right along on this busy weather week. Nicole Karkic and Rachel Schoutsen with you here.
And warmest spot in the country right now, St. Catharines, Ontario, 12.7. We want to take you to this must-see video. It really goes to show the power of those winds, the force of nature, and take us through some of the damage.
That's good to hear, but construction moved from summer to fall now, so people having to wait even longer, which is always painful. For today, the winds aren't a big story across Ontario, but they are going to be gusty along shores of Lake Erie. Winds get a little stronger.
And those northwest winds could be bringing in some snow squalls, some light flurries into places like Barrie, Midland, and Orillia. Remember, that rain is going to be returning for Toronto. As we show you the radar here, you can see that boundary sinking just a little bit to the south, but more
lightning across southern Ontario last night. They're seeing it along the Great Lakes stateside too, so just indicative of how mild it is. The air is unstable. We're seeing rain, mild temperatures. Is it January?
I know.
It's very weird. So this afternoon, as Rachel mentioned, the rain does return. Fairly light, though, for Hamilton and Toronto this round. Maybe a little heavier around Niagara.
Exactly. What we saw through the overnight, though, that was the heaviest of the rain. The colder air moves in, and then this system, it's affecting people even all the way out into Atlantic Canada, too, across Quebec. So this is warm air and rain.
That's right. So you're going to be seeing rain move in through St. John's later on today, but a really nice start here. You can see clear skies. And as far as snowfall on the ground, we wanted to show you this because it's going to start start to melt a little bit, maybe cause some flooding. We've got Moncton at 28 centimeters on the ground, Halifax 16, and so with rain coming in.
Sure, and then what happens next? This is the concerning part. The cold air rushes in, so we're going to see that snowpack become extremely dense, icy, and that's where we could see some treacherous conditions for travel into the weekend too.
Exactly. Good morning. I can't believe we already made it to Thursday. It's been a very fast week and we've had a lot of weather to talk about. Maybe that's why.
Exactly. A lot of changeable weather, from the wind chill into the -40s across the prairies to lull from the rain, but the rain returning again into the afternoon.
That's right. So for this morning, it's been over Ottawa and Montreal. That's starting to peter out, and then it's going to return again for the afternoon. Although this time we've got a little bit of cooler air this afternoon, so the snow line will be down towards places like Barrie. But Toronto, Hamilton, Kingston, you're going to see rain. Could see heavier amounts around the Niagara region, but for Toronto, Cobourg, Kingston, it's not huge amounts. It was heavier last night.
For sure. Now let's talk about the winds. We're now extended into the fall, and we have Jeff Harrington on the scene. And Jeff, take us through this story.
The day today already a little misty ahead of the rain moving in through the afternoon, some fog out off towards the east, and we just want to show you the snowpacks out here.
Absorb all of this rain that's coming, so some runoff, some ponding, some flooding possible, but then what happens next? That's where things get even more interesting.
Exactly. We're going to see a big cool down by Friday afternoon. We're going to be sitting in the -teens in some cases through New Brunswick, so you're definitely going to see some flash freeze. Well, not necessarily flash freeze warning, but some icy roads as you head into your Saturday morning.
For sure. We have Force of Nature coming up, and if you think you've had the winter bad in places like Toronto.
Good morning. Glad you could join us. Nicole Karkic and Rachel Schoutsen with you here. In Ontario, we saw really strong winds yesterday morning, but for this afternoon, things not as windy. Gusts between 20 to 40 kilometers an hour off towards Ottawa and Montreal.
But it's that south wind that changes to the northwest, and we'll tell you what that means for places in the snowbelt regions. That is coming up. Harrington, and he is live on the scene this morning. And Jeff, fill us in. This really goes to show you the force of some of those winds.
Absolutely. Well, for the winds in Ontario, we said no wind warnings in play right now, and those northwest winds will develop later today. And as far as the radar goes, Rachel, the heaviest rain was in the Greater Toronto region last night. Ottawa, you saw that heavy rain a little bit over Montreal at this hour, but also you can see that lightning strike around Windsor that because of the instability in the
Toronto, Hamilton, London, you stay into the rain, and it looks like the freezing rain risk mainly for Michigan, but we are going to monitor some places like Mount Forest and Orangeville. You could see some freezing rain this evening.
Absolutely. And as far as rainfall totals go, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, it's about 2 to 5 millimeters. Could be heavier, though, towards the Niagara region. And then those northwest winds, those brisk northwest winds we need to mention. Don't get that false sense of hope that winter's over today, because we're going right back into it by the end of the evening and for the weekend.
Barrie, Midland, Orillia, you could be seeing some of that lake effect snow. As we take you further to the east this morning, St. John's, hey, what a beautiful scene, but about to get active as well.
Absolutely. Winds are going to really pick up through Wreckhouse by the afternoon, plus St. John's will start to see rain. In fact, that this happens on Friday.
Yes, so right into the weekend. And as we look here, icy conditions very possible. The cold air really starts to filter in, and we're talking dramatic drops in temperature.